Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for everyone tuning in to another episode of Counselors Connect. Thank you guys so much for always being a part, for just locking in with me. I cannot see you. You could see me, but I'm thankful to have you and for you being with me. Today, I have a special guest. She is my aunt, this beautiful woman of God. I want to introduce to you all Claudia Stewart. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on
Yes.
Counselors Connect. I am so glad and grateful to be here. So, for
Yes.
my first time.
Yes.
And I've been watching you and can't wait. Can't wait to
Yes.
get yeah,
I'm thankful
I'm
to have
excited.
you. Yes, I'm thankful to have you. I know you are a pillar when it comes to mental health and when it comes to counseling. Um, I know that there was a time, actually, I want to give you guys a little backstory. When I went to school for mental health, my aunt actually helped me through that program because I don't know if you remember when I called you and I was like, I need to know about the AAA classes and programs. So my aunt actually helped me with creating some papers. So if my teachers, if you're watching, yes, my aunt was the one that actually helped me create those papers on AA classes and all those other things that you've done, and I appreciate you. And I just want to say thank you for helping me get through that program because now I'm a mental health counselor because of you.
You are welcome. It's
Yes,
because of you, because you did the
yes,
work.
yes.
You did
So,
the work.
can you tell everyone about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Claudia Stewart, and I'm a substance abuse counselor now working in the mental health field. So it's kind of dual diagnosis. It's been 20 plus years
Wow,
in
long
the
time.
field. Yes, since my almost 22-year-old was about 6 months. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yes. Wow.
um, yeah. So
So I've never
so
actually worked in that type of field with drug abuse. What is it? Drug abuse?
yeah,
Oh,
substance
yeah,
abuse.
substance abuse. So can you just share what your normal day looks like when you're that type of counselor?
So my normal day look like now I work in mental health, but they're both. So they
Okay.
both
Hand in
have
hand.
right. They both have substance and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So a normal day now, I do the team that I work on is now called the ACT team, where mental health now hygiene mandated. Because of the whole crisis and
Mm-hmm.
now, especially on Long Island, where people just don't take their medication or
Wow.
they're underdiagnosed. So they wind up in the system
Mm-hmm.
and they now have to go through what's called it could be forensic or the ACT team. That's a
Mm-hmm.
part of what I work with, where they're actually mandated, where we have to mandate and make sure that they're compliant with their medication,
Mm-hmm.
they're not symptomatic, that they are taking their medication. We'll do pill checks. We'll check their blood to see if they're actually taking it. So that's a part. My day looks like we don't do so much groups.
Mm-hmm.
I go into the homes, and so from a typical day, I don't know what I'm walking into.
Wow.
Um, I don't know what's behind the door.
Mm.
So it's a challenge every day. So we do have a team. NP, a nurse practitioner. We rotate the clients by demographic where they live. So, but they can be symptomatic. I don't know. I could walk into. I don't know what I'm walking into
Wow.
on a day to day.
As you're
So.
talking, I'm thinking about bravery. Like you have to be brave to be in that role because I'm thinking about me. I don't know if I could walk behind a door and see someone just passed out from a drug overdose. Like I would probably run out the other door.
Has happened.
So you have to literally be brave to be in that field and to know like okay, you put your hat on and you're ready to roll because you never know. Like you said, you never know what you're going to encounter. And I'm sure you've seen countless of things on the watch that you could probably write a book about. That's that's crazy. But I commend you because there I don't know how many drug counselors there are out here that are doing the work, but that's a big job. That's major. That's
A big job.
major. That's major.
Yeah.
Now, how many would you say? Because I know you mentioned Long Island. Like, are there a lot of units, like of people that are in Long Island that need assistance with that?
Yes, I wouldn't be able to if I, I wouldn't be able to tell you counts.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, like if you Google it, if you even read the newspaper, there have been so many like overdoses, especially during the pandemic,
Right.
because everybody's behind the wall. There was no AA meetings, people couldn't get together. So now you're struggling and you're behind the wall.
Right.
You know, it's difficult to even go out, get your drug, whatever the situation is. So there was a rise in overdoses, especially during the pandemic. There was a rise in suicide during the pandemic. Mental health, it has been on the rise, especially during the pandemic. Now we are coming out and we are seeing, that it's kind of tabling, but, there are, you really don't know. Because there's so much like shame and guilt as far as substance abuse that's not recorded and reported because, some people just really don't want you to know.
Okay.
So, and I think that there's, because of the stigma of what people think that a drug addict looks like, and I'll talk from that perspective as a clinician, people think that a drug addict is someone that just chose this life, but it's not that. There are professionals who had back injuries, had to take Vicodin. And if you think about going to the dentist and how much they give you of a Percocet, where you just pull your tooth and you get 50, 160 Percocets for pain. If you have an addictive gene, chances are it can happen. So I never go from the aspect of people thinking, why would you choose this type of thing? Because no one wakes up and says, I want to stick a needle in my arm.
Right.
I want to be a drug addict. It's a transition. So, there are tools and steps that we use, relapse prevention. It's happening more and more in the middle schools now.
Wow.
Whereas in candy, it looks like candy, it looks like Pop Rocks, but there are addictive genes in people's genealogies. And if we do something like as a genealogy when a client first comes in of basically like, what's your parenting, how did you grow up, what child are you, where do you fall in your child dynamic, and what's your family history? Was your mother a drug addict? Was your father a drug addict? Was your, so the risk and high likely of someone becoming addicted is when you're younger.
Wow.
So the more likely that you will become addicted is when you are younger, because remember, your brain is not developed until around 20-25. So you're 12, now you're in, it takes root quicker. So we're trying to teach to abstain longer, that so the addictive process is not so in depth.
Wow, you said a lot of key things that I'm like taking notes with. So I know you mentioned about the school. So do you guys push into schools to like talk to the students about, like the likelihood of, them becoming drug?
Now I'm going to be transparent when it comes to that part of of the school systems. We are I'm a part of my children's school district, and it's very disheartening. Like over the past 10 or 12 years, they're worried about vaping. They're worried about them getting alcohol at the stores illegally, but not worried about when a student comes in and they're high, they give them a worksheet. They have the stickers that say, don't do drugs.
Right.
They have one assembly once a year. So for me, I don't think that's effective. I've even been to the schools where, we're just there, but the information is really not given of what really happens like to your child when they go to rehab.
Right.
There's drugs in rehab. they'll come out worse going to, so it's a lot of detailed things in depth. I've had to watch parents unplug their children, overdosing. I've sat with multiple families through that ordeal, and it takes a toll. It does. The very first time it was very devastating. The very first time was very devastating, and there has been multiple over the course,
and I think that it's needed. Like you said, just having people come in and talk once a year is not enough, because I know that there's students that are overdosing at home, and parents are not aware. They're overdosing in the bathroom, smelling like marijuana. Like it's like a big epidemic of it going on, and having just a worksheet and not really having counselors that are dealing with this and letting them know, listen, you could die on the spot. You can, literally, you won't make it if you take, and I think there's a new pill. I think you mentioned it. I forgot the name of the pill, but it looks like a little piece of candy. I think you mentioned it earlier.
It's like Pop Rocks. They put it's made to look like Skittles, but it really is not.
And there's another one that just came out. Like, if you take it, you could your heart will stop and you'll die. I don't know the name of it.
Well, that's fentanyl.
Yes,
so
that one.
And that can be just anywhere. So it's
I heard if you even smell it, you'll pass out.
You can overdose that way, where a lot of people, because marijuana is not legal, and it's at anyone's gain. You can just purchase it, and but I think that the thing is that people don't understand. It's not in its purest form how what we used to think.
Right.
It used to be it was a plant. That's not what it was meant for.
Right.
And it is being cut with fentanyl.
Yeah.
Because if you think of the mind of I do have clients that are not just addicts, but they are dealers. But if you think from that aspect of selling drugs, no one's washing off product.
Right.
Everything is all mixed together, and no one knows what they're getting. So you can't smell it, you can't taste it. You may use marijuana, but you take a drug test, you might see fentanyl, you see cocaine, which I have seen plenty of times, and I definitely know that they do not use that particular drug. That's not their drug of choice. But when their urine is pulled, that is what's in there. So, there is this misconception, I only smoke weed. But think of the addictive factors. It cannot, it's a plant. It was not meant, that's not what it was meant for. Wow. So if it changes your behavior, changes your character, it's doing something else altering. So you have to kind of think, is it really just that? So,
and because I know a few people that had to be rushed to the hospital. I can't even really go into detail with where I was and when it happened, but the person, the parent was shocked because they didn't know that their child was using drugs. So the information definitely needs to be shared with the parents, because a lot of the parents, like how I'm a parent, I don't have much knowledge. I hear about it, but I don't have much knowledge about all of this drugs that the children are using and people are using. But having information, and we're just going to share this with you guys, that Miss Claudia Stewart, she knows all of, she probably doesn't know all of them, but she knows, she deals with the drugs, and I'm going to leave her handles underneath this video. So if you have any questions for her, if you see any different signs with your child or with a loved one, if you see, if you're curious about what your child may be using or what someone in your life may be using, reach out to her. She will tell you what to do. She, make an appointment with her. She can sit down with you and she could act. She works with the program. Her team is called ACT. So they will act and go accordingly to what they need to do. But it's important. This information that you're sharing today is very important, because I'm learning so much, and I'm like, wow, this needs to be shared to everyone in schools. And I'm just thinking, all this knowledge that you're sharing right now, this needs to be shared with a lot of people, on a district level, on really a lot of stuff. Like, thank you for sharing this. Now, what are some? What is the youngest age of someone on your caseload? Just curious.
Not well, that I've ever had or
Yeah,
that I have
that you ever had.
That I ever had was 13.
Wow. Wow. So, see, you have it, guys. 13 years old. Like, literally, they're just becoming a teenager and they're taking drugs like overdosing. That's serious.
Yeah.
That's serious. So,
Yeah. Because to think of where you were, I mean, I was watching cartoons at 13. That's not how it is anymore because the lives have changed now. You know, everything is so easily accessible, and we just have to be very, very mindful and very, very diligent. Because yes, it's your child is here, but if you send your child to someone else's home, you don't know what's in someone else's home, and most of when I do like a biographic of someone, and I always ask, like, when was your first time? Most times it's 9. That's like probably like around the baseline is 9. Where did you get it? At my cousin's house, at my auntie's house, at so-and-so's house. It was almost mostly never in their own home. So, that's another key thing is that yes, you keep your child safe, but you have no control when they're in someone else's
and I feel like as a parent, that is something that I try to do, is keeping them safe, because again, like you said, when they go out to other people's homes, you don't know if what other people have, and of course you don't want to shelter them and say, oh, you can't go to the family's house. But if alcohol is something that a family member struggles with, alcohol is going to be later all around the room or all around the house. So the likelihood of your child tasting and liking it,
right.
And then they have a liking to always, I want to go to auntie so-and-so's house or uncle so-and-so, is not because they love them so much. It's because they like drinking what they're drinking.
Right.
And they get exposed to so much stuff. And who knows, from the drinking goes the puffing, and then puffing goes the snort. Like, it just, and like you said with the genogram, like the cycle continues, and then they start up, and then when they can't stop, now they're overdosing, and then they get older, and then when they have kids, it just cycle just continues.
It's a graduation period. It doesn't start like, you don't just start and then you go to like a hard drug. There's a gradual growing process of it, because now your tolerance is that one drink might not be enough to do anything to you. So 6 months from now, you might need 2 drinks. You might need 4. You might need rum instead of a beer. So your tolerance now is not going to be high enough to get you, and then there's just so many to it. There's so many things to it.
So my next question leading into this is, what is the recovery for someone that may be watching, that may be at like, when someone is, kind of like hasn't taken drugs in a while, what is that called? What's
Abstinence?
the term? Yeah. So what does the recovery process look like for them? What would it look like for someone that is on their journey of recovering? Like, what does that process look like?
If they have stopped?
If they have stopped. Let's say like they have been overdosing and drinking, and, and they actually seeked help, and, they came and sat with someone like you, and now they're actually haven't taken any drugs for like 8 months. What does that process look like for them?
So it's different. That would be a difficult question thing to answer, because it's people, places, and things.
Okay.
So depending on where they live, who they're around, if they're working their steps, if they're going to a meeting, if they're seeking their spirituality, which is the biggest thing, is their spirituality, and get grounded. So they can abstain for 8 months, because there are people that just don't drink, just like, forget it, I'm not doing it anymore. It's been a year. But then 10 years from now or 5 years from now, they may just have that one trigger, that one bad day. They may have a death of a loved one. They may have, lost their job. They may have become homeless. So, but in that journey is where they need to find that definite spiritual connection, because they have to be accountable to something, because once they're empty, they have to refill it with something. So the longer they abstain it's great, but you can't just abstain and nothing in between the abstinence. So you can't just stay, all right, I'm not drinking for 8 months. That's nice and that's cool and well, but what do you do? How are you staying and
sober,
abstaining soberly and saying, because it sounds good,
right?
And it looks good, and to keep busy is great, but there has to be something other than staying busy.
Right.
Yeah, so there has to be a lot.
Good.
You have to work your steps. You have to work it.
And that's good. And you mentioned spirituality, and I think that's so important. You know, connecting with someone that can pray with you. You know, because I remember there was a time that you were bringing, I think it was like maybe 20 something ladies that were coming faithfully to church. And I feel that was helping them, you know, to break those cycles, because I'm sure when they wanted to go back, they knew that they had a safe place, which was the church, of people, a body of people that could pray with them, hug them, talk with them, you know, call them in the middle of the night or whatever to talk them off of whatever they wanted to do. And I feel like that's important, having someone that's accountable for you, even when you're not a drug addict, because there's right. people that are drug addicts to other things, could be to food. I'm a lover of French fries. I've been saying it. I love chocolate. French fries and chocolate. So I need my family to say, don't eat those French fries right now, because you know you have a goal to meet, which is losing the weight. Like, the goal for me is to lose the weight, not having a French fries. The goal for somebody else may be something else. Yeah. And having that accountability partner is important. So if you are out there and you are struggling, or Miss Claudia, if you want to just share with them, like, what they can do to get an accountability partner, or, you know, just share something with them that they need.
If you're struggling and you're like in that part of your recovery, find a sponsor, find a meeting, find a spiritual meeting, because some meetings are triggers for people. You know, and I'll say that, and just like you said, like the women, and I will say that more than a handful of those women after 14 years are still sober.
Wow.
Bought homes, got married.
That's awesome.
I go to one's birthday party for the last 6 years. He's 6.
That's awesome.
7. And you know, they'll call me every now and then. They still go on YouTube and search the services. So, you know, I think the spirituality aspect is the most important one that I've seen that holds a retention. The finding the meetings, though, some can be triggering, because now you're going in there and there are people that kind of, we call them war stories, and keep glorifying, you know, whatever. They just got highest. And then, I mean, for someone who's new in their recovery and wants to stay sober, and they're still hearing these things, they're still walking in the room, they're still smelling the alcohol, they're still smelling. So smells can be triggers for people. So for someone who like really wants to stay sober, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of work. It takes a made up mind to make up your mind that you really want a different way of life. Because there's only 3 things: is institutions, jail, and death. And that's it. That's the only 3 options.
That's it, guys. That's it. And
those
I'm sure that's not what you want.
Only 3 options. And that's it.
Wow. Can you say that again?
Institutions,
jail,
and death. Institution would be like a psych ward, but yeah, those. That's it.
And that's scary. I mean, I'm hearing it and I'm like, wow, like I'm scared for those that are that like that. Do you want that option? Like, we're gonna be real. Like, do you want that option? Seek help. There's people out here that want to literally help you to get free from this. I know it's hard. I know you're struggling. Again, I struggle with French fries. I love French fries. It may seem little to you, but it's big to me. And I literally don't want to. I mean, I love, especially them hot fries, the French fries from McDonald's when they first come out. You know, and that's a trigger for me. And especially like when I make my kids. And what I started doing was, because I don't want to eat fast food, so I buy the frozen stuff so I can make it from home. So I'll make it for the kids, and I'm like, okay, I'll have my little food, but then the kids will have their French fries. And of course, I'm looking at it. It's a trigger for me because I'm looking at it, seeing the ketchup, and I'm like, So I may take 2 and 3, but then I end up taking 4 and 5. You know, so it's true. Like, it's once you see something, when it's in the home, when it's around you, all you're gonna do is taste it. You're gonna be like, okay, like I'm done with it, but let me get a taste. And it's so true because I'm thinking about the French fries. But I know that I want a goal. There's a goal. And again, setting myself up with accountable people that can help me reach that goal is important. So I don't want to see you in those 3 places that Miss Claudia just said. So seek help. And I want to ask you this. I know you have a lot to do today. I know you're a busy woman. What does your day look like after you leave the office? After you then encountered everything that you've seen, even for the week? How do you release, do your self-care, and how do you try not to bring home work stuff to your home and to yourself?
I'm guilty of bringing stuff home because first of all, my day can't even finish when I'm checked out. I check out from the clients, but then the other stuff has to be done. So, you know, my note might have to be done, or I'll wait and I'll do it tomorrow. It will get done.
Okay.
So, I used to literally, when I worked in inpatient, I worked the 4 to midnight shift, 3:30 midnight. And I would literally stay till 3, 4, 5. I would
in the morning?
I would stay. I would work double shift. I work overnight. I'd be calling back, checking on the clients if they ran off, if they overdosed. I would be checking. Gosh. And I had to like disconnect myself because I'm like, wait a minute. They're working harder. I'm working harder than they're working, and I'm not on the clock. So I had to like set boundaries. Like, no, I'm off. No, I'll check the email tomorrow. No, let that shift who handles it, that's their shift, not mine. And I'm not doing it. So I had to like, you kind of have to disconnect. And it's difficult for a clinician because you care about your client, your patient. You know, you worry about them. You want to know about them. But I have learned to be like, 4 o'clock. Matter of fact, I start from around 3:30. I start winding down, cutting off my stuff. That's it. I'll revisit it tomorrow. Because if I don't, then I take it home. I'm on my phone. I'm worried about, oh my God, how is so-and-so? But that's not my concern. So previously, because that will cause burnout.
Yes. Talk about it.
Like, you will burn. And I used to be like, I'm not going to burn out from. But no, I'm burned. Yeah, I burned. I was like, I don't even know.
This is a career for you,
no. Well, I mean, I've been doing it so long, 21 years, and you know, there's not so much of a change of because there's a lot like that goes into like legislator and monies that are funded for you know, recovery, and you know, you have to constantly be in the loop of like of your circle, because like everybody knows my name. I've been doing this they're like, oh yeah, I know so and so and so and so, because we're like a circle. We all know each other,
right?
And have known like all the we take the walks, we do like yearly things, so we see each other's faces, we know each other. So just that aspect of us being all together and all in the room together. But I feel like now I'm like, yeah, okay. That's something I did.
Yeah.
It's been like 20 years, a whole 2 decades.
That's a long time.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, yeah.
That's a long.
And you know, you really constantly have to fight and, you know, take all these trips and go to Albany, and it gets frustrating because when you don't like see things done, you're like, all right. You know, and you're 1v1 person, but there's like a million people, and we're all fighting for the same things. Like, is to keep people alive.
Right.
That's our main thing. Is
That's
to
true.
keep people alive. Right. And sometimes when we don't see it, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
You know.
So when you came in today, you said you had a mental health day.
Mhm.
So what did that look like for you?
I should have went to work, but
Tell us what, because again, like I like to tell people to take a mental health day, like if you need to, like you said, burn out, if you're feeling stressed, overworked, overwhelmed, or just need that time for yourself, you're supposed to take a day. Like, even if it's just to stay in bed, just make breakfast at home and do nothing. But what did your mental health day look like? Tell us what it looked like.
Today didn't look like that. It normally does. No, for real, it normally does. I'll be in my pajamas until 9 o'clock, and just get up, take a shower, and that's it. But today it didn't look like that. Today I did purge like
Okay.
papers.
Okay.
So I did
That's
I did was like, yeah, I was like, I'm decluttering my drawers, my closets, so today, like for me mentally, was to clear out
some
clutter
stuff, right?
and revisit some things that I had on the shelf,
Okay.
which was good. It was good
That's
for me
good.
today mentally, yeah,
Okay,
because
good.
I revisited some things that I have to get done.
Okay.
So I said, today was conducive. Tomorrow might be conducive too, because I might take another one.
Listen, if you need to take 2 and
So
3,
yeah,
it's,
so
take
yeah,
it.
so I had some things I had to do, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do these today. I'm just not going in today. Sorry. So
Listen, mental health days are important.
they are
And it's
important.
important to just, like you said, even if it's just declutter or to just do whatever. If that's what makes you happy, that's your mental health day. That's what it looked like, and that's hey. So I want to ask you. I know we're about to wrap this up. First, I want to again thank you so much for coming and spending time with me at Counselors Connect. We really appreciate you. You have a big job that you do every day, and I never actually I knew you was a counselor, because the counselor spectrum is so big. There's so many levels of counseling, and to hear the level that you're doing, wow. I just want to say that, wow. Like you are like so knowledgeable of your role and of the drug aspect, and I'm thinking of major things for you, and I'm just sitting here like, man, like how could I get her to go on this and do that, and be speaking for this and bring an awareness, because it's so needed. So we're gonna talk after this. But if you could leave the audience with something, again, I don't know who watches it, I don't know who may tap on or may stumble across it, that may be on the street overdosing, who may be a counter in a situation or have a loved one that is going through something. Is there a quote or a scripture or something that you couldn't leave that's inspiring to them, that could help them get through that moment that they're in right now? Something that you could share with them.
So I always my favorite scripture is just like this quote, but it's the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord. That's like my favorite quote. But to someone who's like not a believer, may not understand what that is, but I wanted to let them know that they are good, and despite what society or what the world or what their family says, they are good in the sight of God's eyes, or else they wouldn't be here. And their biggest fight is this is why they have the biggest fight, because the enemy's not going to fight you if there's nothing in you. So just remember that you are good, and allow God to order every step that you take, so that you will be in that place where you can be used and be needed, because your life is valuable. Yeah, your life. Yeah, the lives are very, very valuable. Wow. And you being in recovery, and you won't see that until you're clear of that. So
wow. So just know you're loved. You're needed.
You are needed.
We need you.
Life is needed.
Life is not over. So you heard it first from Miss Claudia Stewart. And the last thing that I'm going to ask you is, where can the people find you? What do you have coming up? Because I know a lot of people is going to probably tap in and be like, oh, I got to get to talk to her. And I know people that need help. So where could they find you? What do you have coming up? What could we look out for in the future with you?
So on Monday nights, I have a mental health check-in that was spearheaded by my pastor during the pandemic. And I haven't been on in about a month or so. But every Monday night at 7 p.m., I send out a link. It's a Monday mental health check-in, and you can find me on Claudia Hutchinson Stewart on Facebook. And yeah, so we just kind of talk. We have guests. It's a safe space. It's completely confidential. You can block out your screen. It's on a Zoom. So if you don't feel like talking, you can block close your screen. But we just check in. We have real talk. We have guests, and we just kind of dump and purge Monday evenings for just a 45. It's pretty much like a session that you would get.
Free session.
And you're right, that you would get. So it's 45 minutes. So we don't drag it till 2-3 hours. We can, but for now it is still at 45 minutes. So that's where you can find us.
All right. That's exciting. So listen, if you are interested, again, I'm going to add Claudia Stewart's all of her information into this video, also on Instagram, so that you can find her and you could find her Facebook page. She's doing amazing work. I actually checked in on one of the Mental Health Mondays. I was on there. I didn't show my name on my face because it's a safe space. So again, you could go on, you could block your camera out. You could even change your name on there. You could just put anonymous. No one has to know that you're on there. But if you want to just hear what's being said, something that can help you throughout your week, because I believe Mondays is like a reset. Like I posted something today. Because I believe Mondays is you starting over, reset.
Right.
Of course they say Sunday starts your week, but Monday I feel like, you're going back into work, you're thinking, you're planning, preparing for the week. And Mondays is like, okay, it's go time. Like you're in the football team.
I'm already at Friday.
Right.
I'm just
so
check that.
See, so it's important to have, again, going back to accountability, having those people like Miss Claudia that has the check-in. She can be doing anything else on a Monday night, but she's choosing to service you for 45 minutes to help you, to guide you, to comfort you, to let you talk about whatever's concerning you, so that you could have that help in that space for yourself. So check in on Mondays if you need it. If you need it, check in on Mondays. She's there. She hasn't had it in a month. When's the next check-in?
Monday.
Monday's the next check-in. All right. I'm not sure when this video is going to be posted. So whatever Monday it is.
Whatever Monday, it will be there.
They're going to be there. And you could just, connect with her and follow her on Instagram and all of that good stuff. Thank you, Miss Claudia, for being here.
You're so welcome.
We appreciate you. We're going to have you back. We're planning another event, and we're going to have you as one of our speakers to talk about that, because there's a lot of students I know that are taking drugs for the first time, that I'm encountering with parents that are like, I didn't know, how did he get this? Like, where's it at? Like, I'm holding bags of drugs at school. Never ever held drugs before in my life. And now I'm being exposed to it and have to learn these things. But now that I have you, that are your experience with this, I'm like, I'm going to have to sit with you and really have you explain these drugs to me, so that when I'm meeting with students, I could talk to them. But I think it's better to just pull you into the school and have you educate us all, because some administrators don't know, teachers don't know, counselors don't know. So the level of the seriousness of the drugs. So again, thank you so much for this wealth of knowledge that you shared. I'm going to go back and rewatch this video, take notes, because this is like, you gave some great nuggets and some great tools for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Counselors Connect. Like, subscribe, share this page, share the post. Connect with Miss Claudia. She's an amazing drug counselor. She's been doing this over 20 years of experience. Hit her up with questions. She's here to help you. She has a team of people that she works with. If you need any type of service, connect with us. We thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for the next video. Counselors Connect. Bye.
Bye.